What's up, everyone? This video is going to cover week 2 of my latte art focus, and week 2 focused on stacking. And all it is just pouring milk in layers so that they stack up. And I was super stoked, super excited about this week because you could pour some really interesting and complex patterns. Then I realized that it was insanely boring because I was doing the same motion over and over and over and over again. So every day when I was pouring, it's just the same motion. And I would compare it to if you were doing a workout every single day for a week, but the only exercise that you could do was a push-up. You would just lose your mind. And even though it was kind of frustrating in that sense, I still learned a lot. And some of the big takeaways was, for me, just understanding pacing. Now, working in a cafe and working in a high volume cafe, it's really caused me to be in this mindset of pouring fast and, trying to be really fast and efficient. And that's it. Even though I had a lot of opportunity in the past to be on bar and really work on my latte art to be where I'm at right now, that's a really bad habit, and it's something that I really had to be really conscious of in trying to fix, because when I would rush, my technique would be off, and there's just a lot of inconsistencies with the amount of milk that was coming out, my spacing, my placement, which would cause my pattern to look asymmetrical, and all these things that build up, these bad habits. When it becomes a muscle memory thing, it takes almost double the effort to break that and to fix that. So this week was all about that, really trying to understand the mechanics of this technique while at the same time fixing my bad mechanics. So that was it's one of those things where you're glad that you encountered this weakness so that you could fix it, but at the same time it is one of those journeys of okay, now that I know the problem, I have to put in the effort and the work to fix this problem. So that was tough, but at the same time, it opened up my eyes to all these other patterns, all these other latte art pours that utilize stacks, and it made me want to really master it so that all the other things that I like to pour could be better. So that was one big thing that I learned. The other thing was it wasn't fun. It wasn't always fun because it was always the same motion, but at the same time, just trying to focus on motivation doesn't really help anyone, especially me, achieve my goals. For me, a big thing is just that discipline, and this was the ultimate lesson of discipline, doing the same thing over and over again. It could be I would equate it to running, right? Where it is the same motion. You can run up a hill, you can run down a hill, you can run on flat surfaces, but it's in the sense in the end it is just running. But it builds discipline. It builds, with running specifically, it builds that endurance. It makes you healthier. And in the same way, when it comes to this challenge for me of trying to get better at latte art, it's not always going to be fun. It's not always going to be super dynamic where I'm being challenged with complexities. Most of the time, the challenge is just being consistent, and doing the same thing over and over again until it is done right. And that's not always like really appealing to a lot of people, and that was something that I really had to like wrestle with. And yeah, like it's just latte art, but at the same time it translates to a lot of aspects of my life, where trying to get better like every single day, it doesn't always mean like you're like making these huge like leaps. Getting better sometimes means you're just like in the same spot, and you're trying to like figure it out. You're trying to like lay that path out so that you can start to move forward. And that's what this week really felt like. It felt like I was like churning like the concrete so that I could like lay out a road so that my latte art could start to really progress. So I am glad that that week 2 is done, because now we're entering week 3, which is tulips. And tulips are going to be pretty fun for me because they're super dynamic. It's pretty much going to be utilizing the techniques from like week 1 and week 2 to form these like really beautiful complex patterns. So super stoked about that. I haven't really been putting out a lot of like fitness and like workout stuff, but I'm still working out. I am finding that like, because a lot of times I work early in the morning, and then when I come back home, that's when I will like pour and record like the content so that I can post. And that whole process of like making like these drinks right after work, it takes up time, and then it's like eating away at like my workout time. So that's been a mental hurdle for me, because a lot of times like I like to just come back from work, get ready for my workout, and just like and go. And it hasn't been like that for like this month, because like I'm adding like more things like on the list of what I have to do, so it's taking up like bandwidth. And I think that's like with anything, whenever you're trying to like really improve and get better at something, like it does require sacrifice. It does require a pivot in what we're focusing on, what I'm focusing on. And it really causes you to think about like, what is the priority? Like, how bad do I really want to like get like become like excellent at this craft? And there are moments where I'm like, like I don't know if I care that much. I kind of want to just like be done with it. But at the same time, it's like that's not how you grow. A lot of times like growth requires that sacrifice. Growth is kind of painful sometimes, and oftentimes like growth feels like we're moving back 2 or 3 steps. Like we're not able to see like the fruit that we bear like right away. And I think that's where I'm glad that like I have the discipline from like working out and like training and stuff, because it is translating into my latte art right now. So that's what I've been processing. I thought it would just be like super fun and like, pouring really cool things, but there's like a lot of life lessons that you can learn from pursuing like your passions, so I hope you've been enjoying the content, and I hope also that there's like been some takeaways from my experience that like you've also been able to like really learn from. So thanks again for watching, thanks for listening, and I'll catch you all later.